lost. I apologize. It is Nick. He leads off.
I get this thing
Listen,
under control.
The easy answer and the answer I assume
Right.
one of them are going to go with is something about the Eagles having to get the offense back on track. A.J. Brown, Nick Sirianni, Kevin Toole, something.
Eminem. Or
The real answer, and Wild, you know this is a must-win, first and foremost, for Ben Johnson, who this offseason mocked, did everything but walk up the rocky steps and spit on him.
That's true.
Take a hammer to the Liberty Bell, put another crack in it.
Another hammer.
Yeah, exactly. When he said, I like explosive plays. Much less we did see just this past weekend. I don't know who tweeted it. Someone very smart, likely handsome, tweeted it. An explosive play from the tush push when the Pittsburgh Steelers turned it into a 50-yard play against these Chicago Bears. Ben Johnson's locker room post-game speeches, they border between corny or inspirational. You've got to beat Nick Sirianni and the Philadelphia Eagles, who you what's the word? Baited this offseason into running even more tush pushes against you. It's a must-win for Ben Johnson and his boy genius reputation.
Wow.
Well, it is a must-win for the Bears, but not for those reasons. It's a must-win, but who are they? Like, one of the mantras of this show is not the standings. 8-3, okay, that's nice, so what? Who've you beaten? You beat one team with the winning record, Pittsburgh, and that was with the backup quarterback, Mason Rudolph. Can you beat, last time you played a team with a winning record, they beat you with Tyler Huntley and beat you badly. And the time before that, you played a team with the winning record, they beat you by 31. So you can beat up on the little chunk change in the league, but how do you stack up against playoff teams? Because that's where you're trying to get. And 4 of their last 5 games after this one are against teams with winning records. So they got to prove to themselves, not just us, themselves, that they are a legitimate team.
Excellent.
I really liked yours.
Thank you.
I think yours was excellent. And I agree with you. I think this is obviously a must-win for the Bears. And it's for the reason that you talked about. They've won 8 out of 9. They've won 4 in a row. But they haven't beaten anybody that's had any sort of significance. And if you want to be taken serious, you've got to beat someone who is serious. And this will be their first opportunity to do that. And at this point, with Caleb, it's up and down. Has he turned the corner? Has he not turned the corner? Nobody knows.
For all the reasons we've discussed, this upcoming matchup is an unequivocal, bona fide must-win game for the Philadelphia Eagles. Despite all the lingering questions surrounding the Chicago Bears, and the fact that their victory column isn't particularly imposing, I had the specifics noted somewhere, but their wins are against opponents with a collectively abysmal record. The point stands. When you tally up the wins and losses of the teams they've defeated, it's not even a close comparison. They have been dominating squads that are objectively terrible. Furthermore, they've even found themselves in tight contests with those inferior opponents. If the Eagles genuinely are a great team, a true contender within the NFL with the capacity to correct their course, then this is the moment to prove it. Their defensive performance must be significantly more stout than what the Pittsburgh Steelers or the Las Vegas Raiders managed against Chicago. And their offense absolutely must put more points on the board than the Pittsburgh Steelers did with Mason Rudolph under center. It's as simple as that. The Eagles cannot afford a situation where Kenneth Gainwell outrushes Saquon Barkley. That simply cannot happen. It's an unacceptable outcome. Add in the fact that they are playing in the comfort of their own stadium, and the conclusion is inescapable. This is 100% a game the Philadelphia Eagles have to win. They had the Dallas Cowboys defeated and let the victory slip through their fingers. They had the Denver Broncos beaten and collapsed. They were thoroughly outplayed and rolled over by the New York Giants. You could perhaps dismiss the Giants game as a bizarre anomaly, it happens type of performance. But they should have beaten the Cowboys. They should have beaten the Broncos. By all rights, they should be a team with only a single loss at this stage of the season. That is not their reality. They should possess a comfortable cushion for the #1 seed and the accompanying home field advantage throughout the playoffs. But that is not the case. Now, their remaining schedule appears slightly more challenging, especially when compared to the seemingly softer path of a team like the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams have what looks like a very manageable slate ahead, with arguably one genuinely difficult contest against the Seattle Seahawks. Because of that, the coveted first-round bye and home field advantage are seemingly within their grasp. If that opportunity is to remain alive for the Eagles, this is a game they must secure. They absolutely positively have to win. Having that home field advantage would have been a tremendous asset, particularly in a potential playoff clash with the Rams, where the conditions in Philadelphia would be cold, windy, and brutal, forcing an aging Matthew Stafford to perform with his old bones in a harsh environment. They may have already squandered that particular opportunity, but if a chance still exists, if, for instance, the Seahawks manage to defeat the Rams, then the Eagles have no margin for error. They must win these games. They have to win this one. There are no more excuses. Looking at the schedule, they face Chicago, then the Los Angeles Chargers, a very winnable game, followed by the Las Vegas Raiders, another contest they should win, and then 2 against the Washington Commanders, which are also obviously winnable. Their final significant test appears to be the Buffalo Bills, which in theory should be their most difficult remaining opponent. The path is clear. Beat the Bears, beat the Chargers, and keep winning. If the Seahawks then defeat the Rams, the Eagles could find themselves right back in the thick of the race for the top spot. But it necessitates winning out, which is a tall order. They would need to secure the next 6 consecutive victories. This is the direct consequence of dropping games they should have won comfortably. Meanwhile, the Rams have favorable matchups against teams like the Carolina Panthers and the Arizona Cardinals. They do have a challenging game against the Detroit Lions, which I had overlooked earlier, that along with their game against Seattle is the crucial pivot point. The Rams have been excellent, while the Lions have been somewhat inconsistent, and a divisional game in Seattle is always unpredictable. The stakes for the Eagles could not be higher. If they lose this game to the Bears, they could plummet to the 3rd seed. The Bears would then have 9 wins, and the Eagles would be 8-4, immediately losing critical tiebreakers and positioning. If you're the 2nd seed, you're likely setting up a matchup with a team like the San Francisco 49ers, a formidable but perhaps preferable opponent. Once you drop to the 3rd seed, you face a much murkier and potentially more difficult path, likely facing the 6th seed, which is a spot that will be highly contested over the coming weeks. If the Bears secure the 2nd seed, the entire playoff picture becomes incredibly complex and interesting. It's a fascinating scenario because if the Eagles fail to capture the 1 seed, it will most likely be a battle between the Rams and the Seahawks, who still have to play each other. This would likely mean the 5th seed would be occupied by either the Seahawks or the Rams, either of whom would be an incredibly difficult and challenging first-round opponent for whoever they face. For the Eagles, holding the 2 seed might not be a catastrophic scenario, but it introduces a great deal of volatility. The situation is reminiscent of past playoff scrambles, like with the Commanders and Lions, where the seeding created unexpected advantages. A theoretically lucky situation for the 2 seed would be facing a team like the 49ers, while other powerful teams like the Lions or Packers eliminate each other. If the Bears handle their business, it could force the Rams and Seahawks to clash in the first round, a brutal matchup for both. However, if the Bears prove to be fool's gold and lose to a team like the Packers, then the Eagles could be on the hook to face a much more difficult opponent in the subsequent round. There is no clear, easy way to manipulate the standings for an ideal path forward. When the landscape becomes this convoluted, my philosophy is always the same. You're either a great team or you're not. You're either a top-tier contender or you are not. You should either possess the ability to defeat the Buccaneers, the Bears, the Seahawks, the Packers, the Rams, and so on. At this juncture, the safest and most straightforward path is unequivocally to secure home field advantage. Be at home, be brutal, let the weather turn frigid, and then welcome every challenger to your arena. Welcome Sam Darnold to that environment. Welcome an aging Matthew Stafford to the cold and the noise. Welcome Caleb Williams to the pressure. When you review the list of potential quarterbacks and teams you might have to face in the playoffs, the strategy is clear. All right, Chicago, come on down. All right, Sam Darnold, you claim you're ready for this moment? Prove it in the cold and the intensity, with a hostile crowd roaring. All right, Brock Purdy, are you truly healthy or not? If you can't rely solely on Christian McCaffrey, you'll need to make some monumental plays. And Matthew Stafford, you believe you're prepared for this? Let's see it. You're not in a dome anymore. These final games carry immense weight. They are of critical importance. But these are just my opinions. I am genuinely very interested to hear yours. What are your thoughts on the Philadelphia Eagles? Do you believe this is not a must-win situation for them? There seems to be a narrative that the pressure is all on the Bears, but I disagree. Let me know your perspective in the comment section below. I read every single comment that comes through. So whether you find yourself in full agreement with me or you think I'm completely off base, let's get some discussions going. Let's have some spirited debates. But at the end of the day, let's just have some fun with it. Please consider subscribing to the channel. We are building a truly amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to have you as a part of it. My goal is to create something we all feel a genuine connection to, something we are truly excited to be involved with. I believe we are well on our way to achieving that. Also, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it genuinely helps with visibility in the platform's algorithm. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.